Hello and welcome to the Success Showcase. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin with the Modern Observer Group. And with me, as always, is Chip Janiszewski from the Happiness and Success GPS. Chip, how you doing this week?
Doing great, making our own sunshine on a rainy day.
It has been pouring. And I mean, it is very strange because we had a drought for most of the summer and it has poured for most of the fall.
Yep, as soon as the calendar hit September, we made up for what we were missing in July and August for sure.
Absolutely.
So,
So it's
but
been a cool, rainy fall day here in New England. It's been cool and rainy for quite a while here. But I was talking to somebody out in California who told me it was 106 degrees there the other day.
wow.
So, so I don't know if I'd rather be that cold or that hot, but it's
Yeah, rather be looking at the foliage right now, that's for sure.
there you go. And of course, just no matter what the weather, your time is what you make of it. And I know you spent the weekend playing with the grandkids.
Yep, and basically, I think I might have just got my stamina back from that. It was just so much fun. You know, the oldest one will be 3 in early December, and the youngest one 6 months old, and he just started eating solid foods. And of course, the magic of if you parents out there check out this app called Tiny Beans. Basically, you sign up for it, and it's a calendar app where you can post pictures of your little kitties on there, share with grandma and grandpa and everybody else, pictures and videos. But his first video, as far as eating solid foods, they set it up, and mom was putting the spoon towards her. And as soon as he got to the mouth, little Cora in the background is going, yummy, 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 yummy. So you
and of
can't
course,
beat that kind of stuff.
and of course, the
It's
best part about grandkids is that when you get too tired or they get too rambunctious, you get to get them back to their parents.
this is true, but it's just so much fun, spending time with them. So Saturday, wonderful.
All right. So, we've talked a lot about networking on this podcast, but today we're going to talk about a specific type of networking, which is referral networking. Every business person has heard, the best way to get a customer is word of mouth, recommendations. But how do you actually get these recommendations? How do you get the referrals? That's what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do that. But the most important thing, and the mistake most people make as far as going to networking meetings is number one, they think it's a sales meeting and people are there to buy their products and services, which is not true because people only do that when they need or want something. But number two, they just go, and when it's their turn to talk, they talk. They don't do any preparation for their commercials and that kind of thing. And the misconception that networking is all about sales is wrong. What networking is all about is developing win-win relationships, which are what's needed when you're giving a referral, which we're going to be talking about, because you're only going to give referrals to people that you know, like, and trust. And on the other hand, people are only going to buy from people that they know, like, and trust. So it's all about developing relationships. And so what people are interested in is you. They're interested in what your value added is as far as what your services are. And that kind of thing, not what your products and services are. And when developing relationships, what you need to do is meet as many people as you possibly can and develop really good win-win relationships so that you have a stable of people that you can refer to them. Because when you make good referrals to other people and help them with products and services that are besides your own, but other people that you know, like, and trust, that makes you look like a hero to them too. And basically, if you become a resource and you're known as a resource out there, where people can call you up to see if you know this person or that person or what who provides these products or services. That's really what this is all about. So what you folks have to do out there to go out networking is do your homework. So that's something I think we will talk about in detail.
Absolutely. And it's not just doing your homework about what your commercial is and what you can offer. You also need to do your homework as to who you want to meet. Most people go to networking events and they use a shotgun approach. They just hope they can connect with somebody who may be able to refer them onward. But whatever you do, there are complementary occupations that they can become regular referral sources. And it depends. As a business coach, I work with a lot of accountants. Why? Accountants know where the pain in their clients are. So I'm not trying to sell myself to an accountant or get the accountant to hire me. I want to build a relationship with that accountant so that when their clients run into trouble, they go, I've got somebody you can talk to. And you really need to know who is in regular contact with the folks that you want to make your clients. And it's not always the people you expect. I know a lot of realtors, and most of them, they're looking at moving companies, they're looking at, mortgage lenders, things like that. But a couple of really smart ones were looking to connect with divorce attorneys, because when couples get divorced, most of the time they agree to sell the house and split the money. And then they each need to buy another house. Well, for a realtor, that's a really good referral. So you need to know who it is you want to meet and who these complementary occupations are, not that just can refer to you, but that you can refer to them on a regular basis as well.
Yeah, I mean, in B&I, which we're both very familiar with, what they do is they call it looking for your contact sphere. And for a big part of your homework, exactly as Eric said, is you need to write down on paper people who know the types of clients that you are looking for. And they service the same thing. So realtors, yes, they need to know mortgage brokers and insurance agents and landscapers and all those people because they're all serving the personal market. Financial planners, I mean, we see 5 or 6 of them at every single networking meeting. And then most of them just say, hey, if you need a financial plan, come see me. Or if you know anybody, and they're selling one-to-one. How about talking in front of an audience and educating them on financial literacy? Outside the box thinking. See if you can go talk at a school with parents and kids to talk about financial literacy, or go to a nursing home and that kind of thing and talk with parents and grandparents that are in there. The outside the box thinking, especially for those who are just person to person, is so important. And if you just identify those things and then go to networking meetings and ask specifically for those people that you need to meet in your commercials, not people who are your potential customers, that is a huge part of it. The bottom line is the more that you put into this, the better off you're going to be. And speaking of networking meetings, obviously there's things like chambers of commerce and B&I and organizations and associations. And these days, especially since COVID hit and nobody was able to go out again, a lot of people started forming their own networking groups, just inviting people together, developing strategic alliances with people who serve the same clients but do different things. And what you're actually doing is building a referral base of people that you know, like, and trust, almost representing them as a separate business that way. So there's a whole lot of ways to do it. But again, you have to be prepared to do that, and to get that, you have to really do your homework and then just go out and make it happen. And the more you get out there and the more you start referring people to other people and become known as a resource, that's how the magic happens. And it does take a bit of time, but it doesn't mean you can't do it rather quickly if you put the work in.
Right. And, we keep saying you have to do your homework, and that really is important because you have to know who you're going to meet. You have to know who your client is. I am still to this day amazed at how many people, when you ask them, well, who's your ideal customer? Well, anybody. No, anybody is not your ideal customer. You need to know who it is you can help the most. And sometimes getting to those people, you need to go in a little bit of a roundabout way. I was talking to somebody who sells life insurance. And now, usually, you're for life insurance, you're looking at young, healthy people. That's your ideal target. And I talked to him about connecting with folks in nursing homes. And he asked, well, why would I do that? Those aren't the people I need to insure. And I said, no, you don't want to insure the folks in the nursing homes. But it is very common for grandparents to buy insurance policies for their grandkids. So if you're trying to insure young, little kids, which, it's a great way for an insurance broker to go through the grandparents. You need to research this. And I can't stress that enough because you need to know who it is you're trying to reach and how best to reach them. And it's not always obvious. It does require research. And I always tell people, start with who your customer is. Know that customer backwards and forwards. We actually talk to people about using what's called a customer avatar, which is where you create your ideal customer down to name, gender. You actually create a character that represents who your perfect customer is. And then, of course, you can vary that based on product, you can vary it based on service, but you need to know who you're trying to reach. And once you do that, know who can help you reach them. And referral sources are so important because would you rather connect with someone who's going to bring you one customer or somebody that could potentially bring you 20, 30 customers over the course of a relationship?
Yeah, and obviously there are a whole lot of tools out there for you to research where these people are right now. For instance, if you are in a chamber of commerce and you know who your best customers are, let's take that realtor and they're looking for other people to network with, mortgage brokers and bankers and all these other people. Go in there and look them up by name, the people that you're looking to meet. One of the nice things about chambers of commerce and other organizations and associations is if you go in there and you identify people that you want to meet, you can get on the phone and call a president and CEO of a chamber or the executive director or somebody in there and say, hey, look, I'm looking for a connection here or I'm looking for a connection there. And just by your membership there, that's where you can ask for a connection that way. You can do the same thing going to a networking meeting, saying, I went online, I took a look at this particular divorce lawyer that I'm looking to meet. I'm a realtor and I'd like to meet divorce attorneys. Does anybody know this person? If you do, I would love a personal introduction to that. And just by asking for that specifically, instead of the anybody or anything that you were talking about, people will start thinking more specifically. They're going to say, well, I don't know that divorce attorney, but I do know this one. How about that one? And that's the way the whole thing works. The more specific you are, it's human nature, the more specific you are to be more specific about trying to help you. That's just the way things work.
Exactly. And again, as part of the homework, you need to know who you can reach out to get to your ideal customer. And something else you can do is LinkedIn. If you have a customer that's already a good customer and they're on LinkedIn, go check out their profile, see the occupations that they're connected to. Then if you have another customer, take a look at those connections and see what the commonalities are. Where are these folks connecting? Who are important connections for them? Then you can go look for those connections. It can help you to build better rapport with existing clients, but also because your target are all looking to connect with these people, by connecting with them ahead of time, they can refer you to new clients. So it's about
Yeah,
learning how everybody operates and what they're trying to find.
yeah, LinkedIn. I mean, I don't use social as much as I probably should. However, LinkedIn is a real good one because if the key there is setting up a proper profile, because
Yep.
basically you put down what your experience has been, You put down where your areas of expertise are. People can go in and actually give you testimonials in these areas and so on. So the people with good LinkedIn profiles have a lot of things in there that you can tap into. And just by searching around in there, uh, you can really, really get a lot of information. And that is a great way to connect people. And you might want to elaborate on that more, because I know you spend a whole lot more time on LinkedIn than I do, but that's a great tool out there to identify and connect with people.
Yeah, as a tool as a whole, it really is great. But I'm talking specifically about using it to do your homework to network. And that's about searching for the people you want to meet and learning who they're connected to. So that helps you define who you need to be connected to. And of course, if you know your existing clients are looking to connect with specific occupations, as you're connecting with those occupations to build your target, to reach your target audience, introduce them to your existing clients, refer them. This way you're building credibility with your clients and you're building credibility with a potential referral source. And that's really what we're talking about today is, how do you build referral networks? And again, it is so important because let's face it, you can go on Google and go, if you're looking for an accountant, you can Google accountants in your area and you'll come up with a ton of hits. You can go to LinkedIn and you can search for accountants. But wouldn't you really rather have an accountant that was referred to you by somebody you already know, somebody you like and trust, that knows them? That gives you that extra feeling of security. And that's what you're looking for. You want people to be referred to you, that when you come through the door, you've already been referred to them by somebody they trust. And you already have that extra feeling of security with them. So it's less of a sales process and more of, well, how can I help you?
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. It's all about the unconditional giving side of things, and that really only comes with the trust. Because the bottom line is, if you are going to refer me to somebody and I mess up, you're the one that's getting the phone call. So the bottom
Exactly.
line, people going to networking meetings think that people are going to buy from them right on the side. So it's all about relationships. So what you need to do is get those introductions to the people, but set up a follow up to get together with them. Obviously, you can do it via Zoom. I recommend getting together in person now that you're doing it. But again, do your homework then with each other and put down what your value added is and your background, other things about you, qualities, and so on and so forth. Because it's really, really cool when you connect people with other people. And when they connect with each other, they find that they have something in common that's totally outside the realm of business that automatically
Yep.
develops the comfort level. It could be our kids are in the same little league. We go to the same church. It could be, we're both interested these days in New York football, that type of thing. There's a lot of different things that you could talk about, but developing common interests and identifying those with people and then writing them down. So the next time you talk to that person who's a potential client or a referral source or whatever, say, hey, how was Johnny's birthday? The last time I talked to you, you were going to the party. The more that you pay attention to them,
Yep.
the more likely they are to refer people to you. And people will know right away if you're being genuine doing that kind of thing. You're either doing it because you want something or you're doing it because you're genuinely interested in that person. And that's the most important thing, because what networking really is, it's not only an opportunity to develop business, but really it's an opportunity to develop a whole lot of wonderful friendships, relationships, and so on and so forth, because those things are forever. And you and I both know that because we've developed many over the years.
Absolutely. And something else that you have to do is remember that you are there to be of service. It's not just about building your business, that will come, but you have to be involved and you have to remember that the first thing you should be thinking is, how can I help these folks? I had a situation just a few weeks ago. I'm a regular attendee at a chamber networking event. The person that usually runs the event was going to be out of town, and the event is sponsored. So the event organizer asked the sponsor to run the event. Well, there was a miscommunication, and the event sponsor went to the wrong place. So we had a whole bunch of people sitting there with nobody to run the meeting. So I've run networking events for, well over a decade. So I just went, all right, well, we have to get started. So let's go. And I just got up and ran the meeting. Well, word got back to the folks at the chamber who weren't there. People loved the way I did it. The chamber was starting a new networking event, and I got a phone call, and they said, well, we're looking to do something a little different. And quite frankly, we've got a list of one person we want to run it, and that's you. So now, because I stepped up and helped out when nobody asked, nobody expected me to, now I'm running an event for them, and that makes me the trusted advisor. So now anybody that comes to that event, I already have built-in credibility with them. So when I'm looking for people, when I'm referring people, that gives me the leg up. And you can do the same thing just by being involved. Don't think, well, I'm here to build my business, and someone else is running the meeting, or this is someone else's problem. If you can help out, do so. Get up, speak, work with folks, make those connections, and be of service. That gives you that leg up, that feeling of trust. And when people trust you, the rest follows.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why, you talked about being there basically to serve. And one of the best places to consider joining is service organizations, such as Rotary and other
Yep.
service organizations that are out there. Cancer Society, there's a lot of organizations out there that basically are there just to do good in the community. And by doing that, you automatically have a network of people who are there for a common cause. And there may be some people in there that may be good referral sources for you, or they may know people and so on and so forth. So those are great ways to do things. And what you're doing is you're outside yourself, serving other people, serving great causes, and so on and so forth. And you have that commonality. So that credibility and that trust is already there just because you're part of the same organization that's doing things. So that's one of the best things that you can possibly do is just get involved in giving back. And once you're known as that, uh, I always talk about nonprofits. They're the one exception as far as going to a networking meeting and asking for referrals. The reason is they already have the credibility because whoever goes to a networking meeting representing a nonprofit is there for something beyond themselves. They're there to serve. And that's the most important thing. And if you are actually a business person who's a mortgage broker, a realtor doing this and that, whatever, but you are involved with a nonprofit and you include something that you're doing there into your commercial asking for help, that's instant credibility because, again, you're going beyond yourself to do something good and you automatically have that trust building just because people know that you're out there to serve.
Absolutely. Working with community organizations, working with nonprofits. This is not, you're not going there to network, you're not going there to build your business, you're going there to serve. And even though you're doing that and you're not there to build your business, it can be a great referral source because people are getting to know you above and beyond your business, and they're getting to trust you. It's the same thing. You need to think outside the box in terms of what's a networking opportunity. When you're taking your kids to Little League, when you're taking your kids to soccer, talk with the other parents. Again, you're not there to sell them, they're not there to buy, but get to know them. They may be connected to somebody that ultimately you want to get to know. By the same token, just by talking, going, oh, yeah, yeah, I do this for a living. And you don't pitch, you just tell them, yeah, that's what, and ask what they do. Get to know what they do. You never know. They may need your service down the road. You may need their service down the road. Getting to know people all over. It's not just sales. In fact, sales is only the very last part of networking, even referral networking. So you need to build those relationships wherever you go. And you'll be surprised at how many of them will lead to increased business.
Yeah, and you just mentioned a very, very key word there, and that's ask. And whether you're out in the networking group and you're shy or you're outgoing and so on and so forth, the best thing you can possibly do is just walk up to somebody, introduce yourself, and then say, who are you and what do you do? Something like that. Just get them talking. And just by listening to them, not saying, all right, I hope you just hurry up because I got my thing to say too. Listen to them and understand what they're saying, and automatically you've developed their trust. And what you've done is you may have taken some shy person who was standing in the corner. Those are the best people to walk up to, by the way, to get them engaged. And you've actually made their day just by showing interest in them. And if they don't come back and ask you what you do, there's a whole lot of other people out there that works. But that's one of the best things you can do at a networking meeting or with anybody, is just ask them a question about themselves at the Little League game and things like that. Because if you find something in common, like I know you, Eric, are very involved with the Humane Society. That's got to be an unbelievable network because people love pets all over the place. And what you're doing is just servicing that. And, next to our own kids, or maybe even something better than our kids, are our pets in a lot of instances out there. So, again, look for something to do out there that's going to help out. And you're going to enjoy doing that too and making the relationships.
Yes. And yeah, I want to hit upon something you just mentioned when you're talking about asking questions. And this is part of doing your homework because you need to ask questions that are open ended. Do not ask a yes or no question because when you ask a yes or no question, you get yes or no in response, and then the conversation stops. You want to ask questions that people are going to expand upon. Get them to talk about their hobbies, get them to talk about their pets, get them to talk about their kids, whatever it is. You want to ask questions that are going to lead to conversations and listen to what they're saying. Don't think about what you're going to say. Listen for points of commonality, things that you identify with, and then follow up on those. You can ask more questions or you can share an experience that's related to that. But that gets the conversation going, and that's really step 1 is talking and listening, especially listening.
Absolutely. We have two ears and one mouth and use them proportionally.
Exactly. All
Being
right.
101.
We are just about at the end of our time. So, Chip, what do you think is the big takeaway for this week?
Well, we talked a lot about really identifying, doing your homework and identifying the people that you need to meet and why. And then what you need to do is go to places or just find out how you can meet those people and make sure that you have, as we were all saying, questions to ask them specifically about different things that they're doing, but most importantly, just getting to know them. Remember that networking is a process. And if you think you're going to just get something today, it's not that way. You got, once you get the relationship going, just let it flow. Just let it flow, and things are going to develop that you beyond your wildest imagination, and you won't even know why they came or how they came. But that's just the way things work when it comes to developing win-win relationships based upon unconditional giving and service. So just go out there and enjoy.
Exactly. You have to remember it is a process. Don't expect things to happen overnight, but they will happen. I think for me, the big takeaway is three things. It's prepare, prepare, and prepare. You have to be ready when an opportunity presents itself. And you can't be ready if you haven't done the homework, if you haven't prepared yourself. Know who you want to meet, know who wants to meet them, and know how you can be of service. The more you prepare, the more you understand this, the easier it becomes and the better results you'll get. So don't just show up, prepare yourself. And I think that's the biggest lesson that I have from today. You've been listening to the Success Showcase. You can catch us every week at xvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Audible, and wherever you find podcasts. Remember, make this your best week ever and make next week even better. We'll see you then.